If you love tackling tough trails, but you hate second guessing your skills, this lesson is going to show you how adult skill acquisition actually works. Here's what I want you to think about right now. What do you think is really holding back your progress? Is it the bike? Is it your schedule? Is it that you aren't really cut out to be a great rider? Is it you don't have enough access to trails? Because I'm about to show you that it's none of those things. And in order to overcome that plateau that you're stuck on, you really do need 4 things. And these things are what I call the progression process. Now, for those of you that don't know me, I'm Dave, founder of Mountain Bike Academy. And right now you are in the free section here on YouTube. But my real work is doing deep, focused skill acquisition with intermediate to advanced riders in our performance intensive. So what I'm about to show you has worked for 1,065 riders to date, and I'm going to reveal all 4 components right now in order. And if you stay to the end, I'll show you how to enroll in one of our performance intensives, or I'll give you the complete framework so that you can work on this yourself absolutely for free. Component number 1 is you need to know what to practice. When you show up and you feel like the faster you go, the more that your body tells you stop when you say, I've got this. If you've done something before, but maybe your bike is like standing up in the corner, or you're panic braking a little bit, or it feels just kind of like you know what you need to do, but your body doesn't obey, or you just kind of feel that stiffness, that is absolutely a symptom of you haven't been practicing the right thing. And here's what most riders do. They just go out and ride more, they watch some YouTube videos, and what they do is they layer on top of a stiff body or a stiff riding demeanor, they layer on top more technique. So what you're essentially doing is you're exposing your body to more body positions on top of improper programming. It actually ultimately ends you in a place where you're much less safe. And this happens to everybody, so I don't want you to feel bad if this has happened to you. So statistics on this, I've been riding for 20 years, and I think I've crashed 16 to 18 times. I've tried counting it all up. Out of the 18 times that I crashed, 3 were pretty significant crashes. 1 was a concussion. This was within the first 6 months that I started riding. Another one was a severely twisted ankle. 20 years later, I had a complete catastrophic knee injury, took a wrong line, went in too fast, and I ended up crashing in a way where I was on crutches for 6 months and I had to have a complete knee reconstruction. So no matter what level you think you're at, you are always at risk of not practicing the right thing. So what do I really mean by this? The first component of progression is knowing exactly what to practice, and it's counterintuitive. It's almost never what you think it is. So if you're crashing in corners, you probably don't have a cornering problem. You might have how your vision is working problem, which is ultimately a mindset and a planning problem. You might have a weight distribution habit that you developed years ago when the bikes were different and it's catching up to you. You don't fix that by changing your body position. If you can't clear a jump, it's probably not a jumping problem. It's either a timing issue or it's a functional movement issue that you should be fixing off the bike. So most riders, they're just practicing solutions to the wrong problems, and they're putting a Band-Aid on a symptom while the root cause stays hidden. Now, here's the crazy part about it is when you practice, you will make progress. When you layer on those techniques on top of a body that isn't ready to receive it, you will make progression. It will help you. So this is why maybe going to a clinic or practicing more feels like progress, but it's really just kind of false progression because you're getting better at the small things while the big thing that you should be fixing is really standing in your way. Most riders, we learn on our own, we're DIY. There's something good to that. I mean, it's kind of cool to go out there and, scrape up your elbow and go, oh, I got this, guys, and walk off the trail. I get that, but it's not cool at all at 40, 50, 60 years old. It's actually kind of, you look silly. Actually diagnosing what's limiting your riding right now, that's what an advanced rider does. They have the humility to go, hey, what is it? They drive towards that with curiosity. What is it the thing that I actually need to practice? So this one, again, it's a little hard for me to just diagnose it through the screen for you, but I'll give you some quick ones that you can do right now for free. So the single biggest one is if you have stiff riding in general, when you do things like cornering, jumping, or when you're going downhill and it starts to get a little bit rocky and rooty, if you're stiff, you need to look at your foot position first. Foot position is everything. You need to be able to press forward into the front pedal, and you need to be able to counteract the rocking motion of the pedals going like this by being able to press into the back pedal. You need to watch my full training on the pedal press that will double your balance here if this is something that you go, oh, I don't do that yet. So if you've already heard of the pedal press and you're not doing it, then a lot of times it can be core strength, which is the second kind of symptom of thing that you need to work towards. And the free version of that would be do some planks, front planks, side planks, and do those 2 sets of 20 seconds, 30 seconds, 2-3 times a week until you do not struggle with those anymore. You need to have stability in the core so that you can buy into and get the return on the balance that you buy yourself with the pedal press. You need to start with the feet and move out from there. And I'd say 90% of riders don't even have this basic down, even if they've been riding for 10, 20 years. Let's actually take a look at a real example of this in practice. This is a rider that I've worked with for a few months now. His name's Tal. And what Tal was feeling before was just frustration and all that stuff, trying to learn cornering. And what I worked on with Tal specifically was we started with his body and his balance off the bike. And so when we really honed in on it, there was some core issue stuff going on, hip mobility that was going on, where he wasn't able to access everything at the highest level. And Tal, after we worked with him on this, ended up cornering a lot faster than he thought he would. So this is the kind of thing where if you're like, gosh, I don't know if I could figure it out this fast. Skill acquisition is a skill, and a skill is a learnable thing. And humans, we're really good at one thing, and that is learning. So when you learn something, you can do this. You just need the right inputs. So that makes sense. So when you look at someone like Tal, what does that make you think? You go, okay, well, maybe if I had the right inputs, I could do better. This is why I put this as number 1, know what to practice. Moving on to number 2, know what to focus on while you practice. Okay, so number 1, that kind of helps you solve the right problem. This builds your foundation. Let me say that again. This builds your foundation. So once you've figured out what to practice, great. Most riders, they kind of blow it because they focus on the wrong things during practice. And let me explain, your brain can only hold one conscious thing at a time. And what we try to do is we try to think about all sorts of stuff with our body position all the time. So if you're going out of the trail and it feels like you're trying, you're working on it, but ultimately you feel like you're riding somewhere between a middle schooler trying to ask a girl out and a constipated accountant, then you're thinking too much, okay? So this is something that I see all the time, and it means you're not really learning anything, you're just overwhelming yourself. So when you're overwhelming yourself, you essentially are using the wrong part of your brain, and you're not acquiring new skill, you're just thinking about a thing that you would like to do. Now the problem with this is that if you stay in this mode for too long, you burn out, it's not fun, you won't progress. But if you get it right and you actually focus on the outcome of the thing that you want, this is something I talk about with a lot of riders. It's something I worked on with one of my riders, Donald. Donald came to me and he's like, look, man, I'm super successful at everything else that I do, but for some reason I can't get out of my head on the trail. What's happening? And so what I did was I explained to him this concept, and it's not a new concept, it's from the inner game of tennis. It's been around for a long time. It's the self 1 and the self 2. Self 1 and self 2 are different because one is fast, and the fast part of the brain that you use can't really think. It just observes. That's the only thing it can do because things are happening too fast. And then the second self 2, is very self-aware. It's very conscious of all the numbers and the data. Let me just point it out to you straight up. And this is something that no one talks about. You're a control freak. You're a control freak. And when you are being a control freak while riding a mountain bike, you miss out on every bit of the fun out there. You always will end up in this place where you're excited, you're gonna go practice something, you're gonna go focus on it, and then you over-focus. And because you're being a control freak, you never access the part of the brain that is the part that you access when you're a kid. The part that says, dude, check this out, watch this, and then you send it. Now, the problem is you can't just be 5 again because you actually have mortgage brain. You actually have real concerns. You actually do care about not crashing. So how do we do this as an adult? You need to be able to develop the skill of observing rather than forcing a body position, okay? I get yelled at on YouTube by people who are like, you need to drop your outside foot, you need to do this, you need to do this, you need to... The reason I'm picking on you is not because you don't know technique, it's not because you're wrong, it's because the way you're going about learning an adult skill is completely backwards. So if you want to be the kind of rider who gets rapid progression and that quiet confidence, that total confidence, you must slow down and practice the skill of observing what you're trying to do, whether it works or not. Okay, and if you want to go deep into this, frankly, you probably should just read The Inner Game of Tennis. It's got a good concept in there. And the people that I work with, when we work together, it's very much about learning their personality, learning their habits, and just asking them a few questions, and then giving them a cue to work on. Okay, so I don't know what that is for you, but if you know that you tend to overthink, here's an easy, free way to just knock this out. Just try something simple, like a wheel lift over an object. And Notice if you can get that wheel lift to be timed precisely on the object or before the object or whatever. And timing is a really good thing to go, okay, did I get it there? Oh, there, I was a little too early. Oh, there, I was a little too late. By giving your body that exposure to the thing that you're trying to do, you really just give it the information it needs and then it learns on its own, okay? So that's the convenient part about doing it this way. You really just need to go practice and have fun, and you can learn a lot faster. If this is resonating with you so far, again, I'm on a mission to solve the progression problem and restore confidence through athleticism. And if you're with me, go ahead and subscribe to the channel, and I'll give you guys some more things just like this. Plus, we've got a free beginner basics course coming out later this winter. It's still winter here, guys. We're still working on it, and it should be out soon. It's only gonna go out to subscribers who are subscribing to the channel. So if you want this, hit the subscribe button now and share this with some other riders so we can help people crash less, shred more, do it with confidence. Let's go. Component number 3, now that you've got an identification of what to practice and you're focusing on the right things, you're actually acquiring new skills as you go, component 3 is overcome analysis and develop your own style, okay? This gets you out of your head on the trail where it counts. Let me say this again. This gets you out of your head on the trail where it counts. Here's the trap. So if you've done the work and you know what to practice, you've got those observations of what you're trying to do, and you're like, I think I got this. You haven't condensed it down into, let me go do this thing. So if I want to go up in the air and toss my bike from side to side on a very mellow trail and get a little bit of air while I'm doing it, then I have one feeling that rests inside of my body and my brain that represents this thing. So in other words, it's a condensed version of a bunch of skills that I can just go, ooh, I'm gonna do this thing. You know, I'm gonna scrub it, or I'm going to pump it. And I don't have to think of the 9 different things my body has to do in order to do it. So when you get to the top of a gnarly section, you've done your practice and you send it down and you freeze, it's because you've reverted back to overthinking about it. It's not just because you're afraid, it's because you never built yourself a foundation where you know what you're trying to do without having to think about it. So skill acquisition, when you do it in this way, in this order, it allows you to take the things that you've done well in practice and apply them to the trail. And this is why so many people come to me after they've done a ton of clinics and they're like, yeah, I've done a lot of practice over the years. I even got some clinics and it worked, but then I went back out to the trail and it's like I forgot it. Okay, that's not your fault. That's not the clinic's fault. It's just that the structure of a clinic doesn't help you because you're back to thinking about, well, where should my weight be? Again, we're at the middle school dance and she's begging me to come dance with her so she doesn't have to dance with that. And the dance partner is your bike. And also, like, guys, like, I want you to quantify the cost of this for a second. Most riders would tell me that if they went out and invested $10,000, $15,000, $20,000 into their bikes and the trips and all the cool stuff that you can do to ride your bike, and then you spent an entire season stuck on this, that's kind of like investing $10,000, $20,000 in the stock market and then having it lose money, and then you can't access the funds. So what you need to do is you need to think about how critically important this step is, because this is where it kind of all comes together. So learning to override the analytical brain and really ride that bike like you're capable of and like the bike is capable of being ridden. There's no single correct way to ride it. There's your style. There's efficient, there's you being completely in connection with the bike, and there's that flow, there's that fluidity, and the best riders in the world, they all do this. They all look a little different. Aaron Gwynn rides with a lot of strength and he's very good at handling compressions and he just plows straight through. If you've ever seen Greg Menard in person, it's pretty wild. The guy's huge. I'm 6'2". I think he says he's 6'3". I think he's 6'6" or something. The guy's giant. And watching him come down the mountain at warp speed, it just doesn't even make sense. It's amazing. They've all developed a style that's a way of moving that's authentic to their body, their instincts, their strengths. And your job, it's not to copy someone else's style. You can inform it, but your job is to discover your own. And you can only be doing this by, A, giving yourself permission to stop analyzing and start feeling what it would be like to do something, and let go of, am I doing it right? And replace it with, how does it feel? Combine that last step, number 2, of I wonder what this is like and observe it, with let's give it a go and try to create something that you want to feel. So picture the thing that you want to do. maybe a little bar turn if you're a beginner, maybe it's a little bit of getting some air if you're a beginner. If you're an intermediate rider and you want to get sideways, man, what would it feel like to carve through the air 20 feet over this jump and have the bike just follow me along and my torso lands perfectly here and I angle it down and the bike follows me? That's what makes a good rider look smooth. That's what makes a real experienced or advanced rider be able to just turn it on and really do it without having to try. They're not running a mental checklist, they're in it. Component number 4 is the switch from thinking to shredding. And this mental gear change that takes you from kind of practice mode to building up these little skills that you can use out on the trail to being able to just let loose and go, oh my gosh, I can't believe I did that. That mental gear change has to happen, A, outside your comfort zone, B, on new trails that you haven't ridden before, and C, when it counts the most, in front of your friends or on a race run. This is what every rider really wants. They want to be able to show up and not just, I did the technique right, now I feel safe. Nobody wants that. What every rider wants that is really, really good is to be able to turn up, turn on, and turn off the brain completely and do the whole run. Now, the problem with this is if you show up to a race run and all you've done is 1, 2, and 3, and you just kind of go send it, you'll crash, you'll overcook it. If you show up to, say, maybe a slope style thing or a big drop you haven't done before, a big jump you haven't done before, and you get that gut feeling of this is totally foreign, but this is the thing that I want to do, you haven't built a library of number 3 up yet enough, okay? So all the thinking, analyzing, adjusting, critiquing, if you're still stuck there, dear God, please go home. Like, you're not ready to do that new thing. If you've ridden a trail 100 times or 1 time, what you need to do is you need to be in this full send mode. I'm gonna get some hate for this one because everybody's like, send culture is bad. It's like, no, it's not. None of you guys are practicing the right way. You're practicing like the opposite of children. You're practicing like grandparents who are literally just in pure defense mode. So people who want to have fun on a bike, maximum fun, you need to practice offense mode. Offense mode here, it is a practiced mentality. So what you have to do is you have to go to a trail that's familiar and increase speed or terrain difficulty. Or, if you're really creative, speed, terrain difficulty, or the movement you do on that same speed or terrain. So in other words, if you've got a green trail and you want to go and throw some shapes on it, see if you can scrub on a green trail. If you've got a black diamond trail, maybe you want to throw different shapes with your body while you do it. Maybe you want to work on higher speed. Maybe you want to work on braking less. You need to do these things and build them up gradually. This is where practice actually matters. But you have to be in a state where you're not thinking about what you're trying to do so much. So what I do is I get to the top of the trail, and before I drop in, what I do is I go, what's the one thing I'm going to play with at this higher speed? What's the one thing I'm going to play with over that, drop, jump, etc. that I'm going to do? Now, a lot of times it's as simple as like, I'm just going to put a ton of stability into my feet, really work on pressing the pedals away from each other. Sometimes it's just as much as like, I'm going to see how much I can swing my hips while I do this at a higher speed or over that drop, jump, whatever. Does this make sense how that is completely different from just practice, from do more? All of these lack one thing. They all lack awareness. They're unaware at the same time of overthinking. And this is where the industry really has got to level up. And I would say that 99% of the garbage out there doesn't even talk about this. They do the opposite. They give you something that you can do, but it doesn't solve your problem. So what I want you to do is I want you to go in sequence. I want you to work through these step by step by step. And then finally, I promised you that I would give you 2 things. So I've already given you the framework for how to do this for free. I just basically walked you through it right there. You might want to save this video, come back, watch it another time if you're just looking for free support. Now, for those of you that want to enroll and work with me and my team on an ongoing basis, I have a few spots for a 1-year mentorship. The coach you will be working with currently is at the level of coaching Olympians. So this is something that all the cool riders are doing. They're looking for who's the best in the industry. They're getting the diagnosis of exactly what parts of their riding and their mobility, strength, flexibility, all the off-bike and on-bike. We analyze both. Then what we do is we put you through a virtual performance intensive where we give you exactly what to practice, how to practice it, and we refine this where, frankly, if you do this, you can do it for free. It'll take you a couple years probably. What we do is we accelerate that down to a few months. If that is something that you want so that you can hit your riding goals in 2026, shred with confidence, virtually eliminate preventable crashes, and most importantly, work with a team of mentors around others going at the highest speed possible to your goals, click on the link below. We're taking applications right now. It is getting harder and harder to apply. So far, we've worked with 1,065 riders. We've really dialed this in. And if you want to be a part of this now, get in before we load up on 2026, because it's going to be our biggest year yet. Thanks for watching. My name is Dave. I'll see you on the next one. Thanks.